Hello YouTube, hello all lovers of World War II. We are playing Hearts of Iron 3, Germany. The year is 1938, the October. I will wait only a few more months until the 1939 so I can sign a non-aggression pact with the Soviet Union, a Molotov-Ribbentrop pact. I'm repositioning my units closer to the border with Poland. My tanks will rush in through Slovakia since we have a relatively rough terrain with some hills over there, and the light tanks will do a much better job than a medium tanks. Medium tanks will be positioned here, and I want to attack on a clear terrain where I have plains. I will try to use a blitzkrieg tactics where tanks are attacking first and you're using tanks as your main force of attack, while infantry is going behind them trying to close the gaps and support them. Because if you don't follow the tanks with the infantry, here is what can happen to you. Let's say you rush in with your heavy tanks or medium tanks like this, and you have a huge gap over here. Enemy can do really nasty things to your tanks simply by cutting off your supply lines, and you will have all your tanks over here cut off with no supplies. Their organization will drop and they will probably be surrounded by enemies. So you want to support them with infantry and close all the gaps with the infantry units. Be careful, don't rush too fast if you don't have enough supporting units to support them. On the other side, I'm preparing my offensive on Denmark, but as I said, I'm waiting for a 1939 so I can sign a non-aggression pact with the Soviet Union. My upgrade needs are now at 7.05, and if you was following the previous recording, you know why is that important to me. Now I will enact a mixed industry policy, and by that I'm losing this negative modifier of -15% for efficiency for production. I was explaining everything in a previous recording, so if you didn't watch it, please take a look at it and everything will be clear to you. Now I will prioritize my production. I will lower down the consumer goods need. I will let my descent rise, because after I sign a Molotov-Ribbentrop pact I will lose 5 in descent. So I want to save some of my industrial capacity. There is no need for lowering down the descent if I will lower it by a decision. I have more units to deploy. France is mobilizing. I will mobilize my units also. And you will see how I will have no problems with mobilization. After you click on the mobilize button, all your reserve divisions, after you, let's say you build a division and you click, you want to build it as a reserve, you will need less manpower and less IC to build them. But after you mobilize your units, you will have to invest huge amounts of industrial capacity into reinforcements. Since all my divisions are combat brigades, combat divisions, there is really low number of reserve divisions. I should invest only 3.11 for reinforcements, and Germany can allow itself to build a combat divisions from start. I can research more technologies since I have enough leadership to do so, but I will wait for next year in 1939, where I can order the research of 1940 technologies. Let's speed up. Manual control. I want to keep it on manual control so the eye doesn't try to change the slider for consumer goods. I can invite Japan to my faction, but I will not do it yet. You can see that USA is drifting toward the axis really fast, and they are really close to us, and the highest threat for them is Japan. I was already talking about it. If I invite Japan into my faction, then I will start to drift toward the Allies. And now here comes your decision. Would you like me to invite the USA into the Axis and become so overpowered that I will destroy everyone without problems? Or you want a bit more challenging game for me and let the USA join the Allies? So you choose. Do you want the USA join the Axis? At least I cannot promise that, but I can try. I can work on it. But I think if I want the USA to join the Axis, then I have to left the Japan to stay neutral or drift towards someone else. I cannot invite Japan to my faction because they will declare war on the USA, and that's 100% sure. There is no chance you can avoid it. All right? So you choose USA or Japan. With the USA, the Axis faction will be really overpowered, and we will destroy everyone. I mean everyone. But Japan can also be a really helpful ally, because what they usually do is they have really strong imperial fleet. The fleet of Imperial Japan. They usually invade India and destroy the British. Over here, Royal Navy is a bit weaker than Japan. Imperial Navy, I mean, they have a similar strength, but in most of the games that I was playing, Japan was winning those naval fights, and in most of the cases they were able to occupy India, and that way UK will lose, I mean their surrender progress will rise. The year is 1938, still I have to speed up a bit. I have more units to deploy, bridging equipment, alright, more inefficient research. So let's remove the bridging equipment really soon. I will order a new set of technologies. Will improve my infantry, will improve my air wings, my doctrines, everything. Wait, why? More research available. I have invested 28 and I need 28. Then how is more research available? This is probably some kind of bug. Let's lower down this slider to 27. Alright. I have more units to deploy. I have one light tank division close to the Denmark, one light tank corps with 3 divisions inside, so let's position those light tanks to the 4th corps, assign them a leader. And assign them under the 4th HQ, 4th Corps. 4th Corps in 4th Army. And let's rename this 4th Corps into a 1st Light Armor Corps. Like this, and all others are infantry, so let's rename it. I was already talking about why I like to rename those stuff, because when you select the 4th Army, for example, you can see Infantry Corps, Light Armor Corps. If you select the whole Light Armor Corps, then you can just mouse over the icon and you will see all the brigades inside division. Let's continue with the higher speed. Alright, we are now, this is the event where we are losing all damaged forts in former Czechoslovakia. They will just disappear. Check out my production screen. And I'm waiting for a decision where I can enact a non-aggression pact with the Soviet Union. With that decision, I will lose 5 in descent. So I don't want to raise my consumer goods slider to lower down the descent, because I will lose it just by decision. We have some inefficient research. More units to deploy. And more research available. Now I can construct a heavy tanks. And let's do it. Let's do it. Let's build a heavy tanks. Not too much, not too many, but I want to have at least some, so I can fight against Soviet Union and also I can penetrate through their lines easily. Light tanks and medium tanks, I like to combine them with self-propellered artillery, but since heavy tanks really have huge penalties in rough terrain, I like to support them with engineer brigade. So that way they will have less penalties on attacking, less penalties on movement, and a bit more bonus on defense. You can compare it if you mouse over terrain icon. This is with engineer support brigade, and this is with self-propellered. Take a look at the movement. Movement is also important. Let's give them an engineer. And I will have 3 parallel, 5 serials. That would be 3 cores of heavy tanks. And I will rise the prioritize for interceptors and tactical bombers, because I will need them quite soon. I will let's reposition my interceptors where I need them, and here comes the national decision available. the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. And alright, the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, blah blah blah, and if I press OK button, I've gained cores on some of the Poland territory. I have one more decision, claims on Memel, where my relations with Soviet Union will be changed by a -5. I will gain 10 threat on all nations. Lithuania will also get the German claims on Memel event, so they will have a new decision to choose. And take a look at this. Now, if I press OK, I will lose 5 in descent. So my descent now is 0, and I can again give the IE to prioritize my production. Alright, we can continue. I will reposition my light tanks, and this is the moment when war begins. Get closer with the infantry corps. As I said, I want to support my medium and light tanks with the infantry. Maybe those guys are a bit too far away. Let's get closer like this. Select all the infantry. I will slow her down a little bit while I rearrange my interceptors. I want them all to be on air superiority mission, so they will fly over the Poland area all the time, 24/7, until their organization drop. So the difference between air superiority and air intercept is: air superiority is some kind of offensive mission, where your air wings are flying over the enemy territory constantly, and they're not shooting, but when enemy planes get in the air, your interceptors will bring them down. So by air superiority, you're constantly flying over the enemy territory, and you're making the sky safe for your tactical bombers. So after you clear the sky, then you can rush in with your bombers and defeat the infantry. I must rise the espionage slider, at least for a month or maybe a few days. On the other side, we have air intercept mission, which is a defensive mission. Your airplanes will sit in base, they will not fly, they will be down in air base, and when they spot the enemy aircrafts coming, they will try to intercept them and bring them down. And that's the reason why the fighter technology, the aero engine, where you rise your speed of all your airplanes, are really important. You want your airplanes to be faster than the enemy planes. That's the main reason you want to research that. I have more battleships and more destroyers ready, so let's rename this naval unit into a first battle fleet. Let's assign them a leader and a naval leaders. What all those skill points mean. In a first recording or in a second record, I think in second recording, I was explaining about the leader skills and traits for land units. But what about the naval units? The skill of the leader that is leading your navy. So each skill point, if you mouse over it, you can see that skill 1 leader will get positioning bonus of 10%. Skill 2 leader will have bonus of 20%. Skill 3 leader will have bonus of 30%, and so on, so on, so on. But what about the ranks, the stars? What about those stars? They're influencing how many ships your leader can lead. But what's the point? Then you can give all your leaders the maximum rank, the maximum number of stars, so they can lead the maximum number of ships. But here is the catch. The leader with rank 1 or leader with only 1 star will gain experience much faster than leader with 4 stars. So you want to keep it at the optimal level. If you have 10 ships in a fleet, you want to bring down the skill or the rank of your leader at 2, because rank 2 leader can lead 12 ships. If you mouse over his icon, you can see that he can max command 12 ships. Positioning bonus 40% because he is a skill 4 leader, and with the 2 stars he will gain experience relatively faster. Let's position all other units. Here is my first strategic bomber wing. The good trait for your bombers is a night flyer. So you get bonus when attacking on night. Night attack plus 10%. Let's rename it into a strategic number 1. Like this, and I have 1 extra interceptors, that is only 1 wing in a unit. Interceptor number 4. Assign a leader. Alright. And did I repositioned all my interceptors and tactical bombers in the right place? Yep. Everything is in place. So now it's time for offensive, guys. Here comes the war.